This is the Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro-carded, animated, cel-shaded Spider-Man. Man, I'd peg this figure to be the worst Spider-Man figure for 2022 out of all the releases for 2022. But when I saw it in hand at the store, I was like, Hasbro doing some bamboozling here, and I was thinking it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. I saw this figure at my local Toy Kingdom store, and it's priced for about 1,600 pesos, which translates to approximately 27 US dollars. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is the Marvel Legends retro classic cel-shaded animated Spider-Man out of packaging. And you know what? This figure really surprised me. When promo pictures were revealed and released of this figure, I was so sure that this was going to be one of the worst Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures that Hasbro was ever going to release. I was so sure that I had my hammer busted out. I was ready to pound this figure to a pulp because I knew it was probably going to be the worst Spider-Man figure because of the cel shading. The mold was okay. I don't think it was going to be the best, but it certainly wasn't going to be the worst mold ever. But the cel shading, I knew was going to be trouble. But surprise, surprise, the cel shading actually works on this figure. And on top of that, I was under the impression that this blue shade of color for his uniform, for his unitard, was going to be something like on the side of baby blue, sky blue. But it's actually done in this really nice blue, animated blue that brings so much nostalgia that, I remember Saturday morning cartoons, I remember comic books. Hasbro did a wonderful job with this figure, and I am just shocked at how well everything worked out. The figure is not without flaws and faults, which we'll talk about in a little while. Let's take a closer look at the details of this figure. So the figure comes with several accessories. He's got 2 extra pairs of hands. So he's got the thwip hands, left and right. He's got the punching hands, left and right. And what I have on him are the splayed out wall crawling hands. He also has these 2 web effects, which I'm not entirely sure how they work. I guess you could put them on figures, Spider-Man enemies, or if you have the splayed hands out, maybe he can sort of like, you could sort of like put it on his hands like this, I suppose. I don't know exactly how this thing works. It's a cool spider web effect, but I don't know, totally useless. I would have preferred the spider web that he could swing on. I think that would have been a better accessory, but I don't know. Okay, so here he is with the 2 other Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures that I think are the best figures so far. So out of all the Spider-Man figures we have, these are the top 3 in my opinion. We've got the original retro Spider-Man. Came in the first wave of these retro carded Spider-Man figures. Then we have the Renew Your Vows 2-pack Spider-Man with Spinneret. And you can see that this figure is pretty small. That's probably one of the things that's bugging me with this figure. It uses, I believe, the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man mold. I don't have that figure to review yet. I did have it once, but I got rid of it. So I'm still looking to get that one maybe on clearance. But I think it's the same mold based on the reviews I've seen. The cel shading, actually not so bad. I still prefer the comic or the original dark blue suits from both of these figures, but this light blue color on his costume is just giving off so much nostalgic vibes. Let's take a look at the articulation for this figure. He's got a ball jointed neck. There's a hinge right here at the base of the neck, ball jointed upper torso. You've got a ab crunch on the waist, no waist swivel. Got butterfly shoulder joints. Arms can go in and out, forward and backward. Bicep swivel. Double jointed pinless joints for the elbows. The wrists go swivel and hinge. The legs or the hips are on ball joints. No drop down hinges, unlike these two. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, calf swivel, hinge ankles with the rocker tilt. So all in all, it's a decent set of articulation for the figure. The lack of drop down ball joints, I think is gonna bring down the rating just by a bit. But articulation wise, this thing is a solid figure. I love the sculpt. It's a little small, that kind of bugs me. But what really bugs me with this figure are quality control issues. As always, you can see right here on the shoulder, right there, somebody botched up a paint job and he scratched off some paint and then repainted it with some darker blue wash. I mean, look at this. This one's perfect. This one's, yeah. And it's always this shoulder. I've seen other figures on the shelf and this shoulder has some chipping here and there. I've seen a figure that had scraped off paint right here. Kind of sucks, man. What's up with this shoulder? Also, you can see the web pattern perfectly painted right here. I mean, look at that. And more inconsistencies with the web pattern. You got some scratching here and there. The biggest quality issue on this figure is right here on the back, which you cannot see in packaging. Look at that. Plastic broke off, got stuck on the paint or somewhere. Look at that. The paint got stuck, or I don't know what to make of it. And even here, you got some chipping right there. Chipping right there. That's the bit of the plastic that chipped off. So yeah, quality on this figure. Just look at that. Look at that inconsistency of the paint. There's some wrinkling, flaking. More right here. You can see those wrinkles. It's not as smoothly painted as I would want it to be. Look at that. Look at that. Very inconsistent. Now, when I first saw pictures of this figure, the thing that really I thought was going to bug me are these cell shading on the legs. The arms and the torso, I thought they'd be okay. I thought it wouldn't bother me as much, although now it's kind of bothering me right now. But I knew these would bother me because when you rotate, you articulate that leg, part of the cell shading is not going to follow. Look at that. So if you have him posed like this, look at that. The cell shading is going to look inconsistent, and I knew that was going to bug me. What surprised me is it doesn't bug me as much as I thought it would. I don't know why. I knew it was going to be an issue, but somehow I'm not as bothered as I thought I would be. But still, it kind of bothers me, and it's going to detract from the rating. Just the legs. The legs are just, I think maybe they could have just put the cell shading just on the thighs and not put some paint on the hips. That way you wouldn't have inconsistencies like that. And maybe they could have added more cell shading here. Yeah, this one's okay. I mean, that one I guess is okay on the calves, but the thighs, that really bugs me. And so some final thoughts on this Marvel Legends retro classic animated cell-shaded Spider-Man figure from Hasbro. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. There are some quality issues with the figure, like not just some, but a lot of quality issues. And they're not just minor nitpicks, they're just, some of them are just really annoying quality issues. The articulation isn't the best compared to these two figures. It's lacking that drop-down ball joints, and it's lacking some toe articulation. Nothing too major. I mean, no deal breakers there, but versus these two other figures, I think these two other figures have the superior mold. Having said all of that, it's not the worst Spider-Man figure from Marvel Legends, which I thought it would be. It's definitely one of the best. It's going to rank in third versus these two other figures. The Renew Your Vows Spider-Man figure is still, I believe, the most definitive Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure out there. I think it's still the best one Hasbro's ever done. The original retro Spider-Man, I think, will fall in second. And this guy is going to fall in third. The real thing that's going for this figure is that color scheme, that which I thought was going to be so corny. I thought it was going to be a fail, but it just works. The figure is going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this new Marvel Legends retro carded classic cel-shaded animated Spider-Man from Hasbro. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.